Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper One. I want to talk about a few subjects. One of the subjects is the ruling with the Ninth Circuit, I think it's out in California, federal court, saying that you don't have a constitutional right to concealed carry. Yeah, I don't have a constitutional right to concealed carry. I have a natural right given to me by God to be able to protect myself. So for them to say that, it's disappointing that federal judges would come out and say that. But don't worry, I'm not going to really demand or want your permission to carry a firearm to protect myself. That right was given to me by someone a lot higher than you. Man didn't give me that right to protect myself. So disappointed in that ruling, but not surprised in the environment we live in. Next, Hillary Clinton. The evidence that I have seen publicly, I've read, I've researched, she is guilty of many crimes in regards to her email. And I'm not an attorney, but I can do some, evaluating, some reasoning, and she looks guilty of sin. I am troubled that she is not indicted. I am troubled that a group of people, the Democratic Party, would put her up, knowing that she has some political problems. So what it proves to me is that it doesn't matter. It is a rigged game. She should be going to jail, not going to occupy the White House, the highest position of leadership. So it's disappointing. And it's not disappointing just because she's a Democrat and we have some major problems in what she believes and what I believe. It's that she's a criminal. You cannot put a criminal in the highest office. Obama has supported and come out supporting her. I don't know if it's an official endorsement, but by doing that and saying positive things about her candidacy, it is putting a lot of pressure on people that are in the Justice Department. There's been probably a lot of pressure behind the scenes, unofficially put on, because she should be at least indicted. They should go to court. They should have an investigation. And I don't like witch hunts between Republicans and Democrats, Democrats and Republicans. This is not it. An average person can look at the facts and say, oh my gosh, she broke the law. So, a little upset about that. The whole system is corrupt. But I also want to say this. I am out there looking for a leader to push the Patriot movement. And it could be a leader in politics, a governor to stand up, to say, hey, the federal government is doing a lot of unconstitutional things. So I'm challenging. The government has come up with a list, and I'm definitely on that list because they've come up with things to watch for. And, patriots, veterans, Christians, homeschoolers, people that are 3%ers, people that fly the Gadsden flag. So I'd like to come up with our list. So I challenge politicians, and if you've taken an oath to protect and serve the Constitution, you need to go on record what side you're on. It doesn't matter that you vote certain ways, but you need to go on record on whatever. If you're in county council, if you're in state, if you're in federal, on the record. And say what side you're on. And point out some of the problems that we have in this country. Because if you can't point out any problems, constitutional problems that we have in this country, then you're not on my side. You're on the other side. And come out on the record and state, hey, there's unconstitutional things going on in this country. So we know who you are. You can't sit on the fence forever. And I'm definitely not sitting on the fence. I'm on the side of the Constitution and freedom. I have made a decision. It's been a hard decision to make. Knowing my background, knowing my generations that are before me. My grandfather was at Pearl Harbor. He was there when it was attacked. He was in the United States Army then. I will not fly the American flag again until it is either restored to where that flag actually represents what it needs to represent. So my flag is not going to fly. You might say, yeah, it's unpatriotic. No, it's not. I'd be willing to fly any flag that stands for what we founded this country on. Freedoms. I personally do not feel free today. I personally feel a heavy, heavy burden, a yoke that is given to us by the federal government and even the state government and even the county government. The county government has decided they will not issue any permits so you can have a public shooting range on your property. No matter what. I mean, you could probably show them the safest plan. They don't want shooting ranges. Probably one reason is, you know, they want to get a little bit more yuppified in Pickens County. We're country folks. They want to bring in more yuppies. So, if you're a politician, you need to go on record. So one day you can say, hey, here's the record, here's the video proof, here is the written proof. This is in the record that I cited for the Constitution. Because one day this country will be in a civil war. Because I'm not going to sit back and sit on the fence. I'm not going to sit back and go along with the flow because I don't want to, rattle the boat, rock the boat. I do not want my children, my grandchildren, and eventually my great-grandchildren to look back and say, you know what? Our dad, our gramps, our great-gramps, he just went with the flow. I want them to say, you know what? That man stood for something. That man put something on the line. It is time to put everything on the line. Our country's, I don't even think the election is fair. We don't know who counts the votes. It doesn't matter who votes, it's who counts the votes, who gives that results. Could it be corrupt? Oh, 100% yes, it probably is corrupt. Why? All forms of our federal government is corrupt. It's bloated. So I am no longer publicly going to ever fly the American flag until there's changes. And that's with heavy heart, I have to say that. I mean, being in the United States military, I've given everything to my country. Everything. I have holes in my body to prove what I've given. So, I'll be glad to fly any flag if it represents what it used to be in this country. Freedom. Because I am not free. They tell me where I can go to the bathroom. They tell me if I can go to the bathroom on my property. Every part of my life is regulated from a local to a state to a federal. That's not true freedom. There is a group of people in this country that are so willing to give all their freedoms up for a little bit of comfort. You're not comfort. You're a slave. This is another one of those rant videos. But I think they're important. I think I need to explain to you, and it is a public, statement that I'm making here, to YouTube and to the world. We need to make a change. If you were in the military and you took an oath to protect the Constitution, you are more obligated right now to stand up than someone that did not. And that means the person that didn't take the oath or serve in the military can cop out or has no less value. You're just as valuable as me. But we took that oath, and we were given training. We were given the ability to do things. We were given leadership skills. If you were a non-commissioned officer or an officer, you were taught how to be a leader in all areas, from combat to organizing. So we have a greater responsibility, because we can't say, we don't know what to do. Yes, we do know what to do. It is clearly laid out in the Constitution. When our form of government becomes not responsive to the people or contrary to the Constitution, we know what we have to do. But what happens is, I was eating breakfast this morning with some good folks, and one of them says, it's a death from 1,000 cuts. And that's what they're doing to us. So I want my future generations to look back, and even if I fail, I want them to say, hey, he tried. He believed in something, he tried. But really, I want them to look back and say, man, I am so grateful for some people that stood up. It's hard to stand up. You think I like to get on this video and make these statements? But I'm out there already. We need to do something. It might be an economic boycott. It might be we're not going to spend any money. It might be we're going to take our money out of the bank and put it somewhere else a little safer. And a lot of you don't have that money. I know that. A guy sent me a text and I called him last night. Hard times. Work, hard times. He's got $3 to his name right now. He's struggling. He's a good, hard-working guy. I know him. Just there's been some bad things, and the economy sucks. Middle class wages are just crashing through the floor. I can tell you that because when I was in the Army, before I went in the Army, I was paid a certain amount of money just to be a general construction helper, manual labor. When I got out of the Army, guess what? They're paying the same amount of money, and in some cases a little less. So wages are crashing, and the politicians don't care. Politicians on both sides, they're crooks, they're criminals. They do not deserve to even go into the Senate or the Congress building, the Capitol building. They don't deserve to walk in there. So, recap, I will not fly the American flag until it is restored to, our country is restored to the beliefs that founded this country, or we come up with another flag to fly that stands for the same principles of liberty and freedom and personal responsibility. Thanks for watching.